Hello everyone, welcome back to Azure Cloud Rock series. Today we will walk you through album sample use case along with certain Azure services which are needed for creating such a sample. So before delving into this real use case of an album wherein we will try to upload some photos and see the thumbnails, we will have a brief look into the portal, Azure portal, and we will get to know certain terminologies such as PaaS, platform as a service, then IaaS, infrastructure as a service. And we will see what are the different Azure regions across the globe, and we will see SDKs for different programming languages. Let me switch on to the browser to show you the portal. So once you have Azure subscription, which is the first step to have an entry into Azure. Once you have a subscription, you can log into portal.azure.com by signing in using your Microsoft account or your organization account, whichever account you have tied to the Azure subscription. So once you log in, you will be able to see this all new revamped portal for Azure. So you will see a lot of services over here. These are the Azure services that are part of Azure platform today. And you will see all new Metro UI. So everything is in form of tiles here, and you can close certain tiles, you can move around, you can create new services by clicking on the new and add. So clicking on the add button will list down all available services in Azure portal today, right? And it will highlight what recent services you have created. So that's an overview about the portal. So the next thing we need to understand is uh, what are the deployment models in Azure? What are the cloud models? So PaaS means platform as a service. Platform means Azure is giving you the entire machines plus software updates and all the management. You don't need to worry about updating your OS with patches, security, extra, etc. You just need to deploy your application. Everything else is taken care by Microsoft management. And how different is IaaS, infrastructure as a service? In this model, you will get only machines, say VMs, virtual machines that you can borrow or rent out from Azure Cloud. But you are responsible for updating the software. You can log into Azure portal and then control all these machines. You can install OS, you can downgrade or upgrade the OS. So all the software and other management is your deal. You don't need to deal, you need to deal with all the updates. And coming to the Azure regions, now Azure has been in the market for around uh, 7 years from its GA on February 1st, 2010. Now Azure has 34 regions across the globe. Let's take a brief look at the footprint here. So if you see, though there are 34 different regions, you will see different products available by region. So you can check the entire listing in this azure.microsoft.com in region and services. So there are numerous services in Azure. If you see, I'm walking you through different services here, and it's good to go through all the services and understand what is specific to different regions. So here there are different regions uh, categorized or grouped by the continents like Americas, Europe, Asia Pacific. So again, in every continental grouping, you will see further divisions of Azure services like United States, and inside United States you have Azure government, then Canada, Brazil. So you can go through all the products by regions details to understand what are the different products available in your region. And the final point is SDK, Software Development Kit. So if you are coming back from, or if you are a person with development background in .NET, you can choose .NET SDK. And similar to .NET SDK, we have Java, Ruby, Python, PHP, Node.js. So many SDKs are available. So based on your preferences or your strong area of programming or understanding, you can choose the respective SDKs for it. So you can download the respective SDK from portal.azure.com and use it. So coming to our use case of sample, which we discuss here this time. So this is an album use case. As I mentioned earlier, we can upload certain images, and in the album view, you will be able to see thumbnails. So I'm going to use two major services here. The first one is called Azure Cloud Services, and second one is called Azure Storage Services. And I will just have a brief mention about one of the cloud design patterns linked to CQRS. So let me brief about what Azure Cloud Services is. In Azure Cloud Services, there are two concepts. One is called web role. Web role is nothing but a virtual machine rendered out for you, which has IAS on it, and you can push your code or publish your code from your development environment, be it Visual Studio or any other IDE. And worker role is the second concept. Worker role can be imagined as a Windows service running in one of the VMs in Azure Cloud. So what is the difference between cloud service and VMs? Cloud service will internally use VMs as the backbone or the workload executing machines. Okay, so it's just a term for PaaS model. You can create a cloud service and push out your code to Azure. And coming to Azure Storage Service. So Azure Storage Services provides you three options or three different types of storages for you. The first one is blob. The blob is actually an acronym or a short name for binary large object. This has been around for over a decade in most of the databases like SQL Server or Oracle. You would have seen a column type or that data type as blob. So mostly this is for storing binary content. So if you have a set of files, we will read the files and convert it into respective binary form and then store it. So the primary use case for blob is to store files or any unstructured data. Okay. And the second type of storage that is available in Azure Storage Service is table. So an Azure table is for storing tabular data. So if you are familiar with RDBMS, Relational Database Management System, you would know what a table and a table is comprised of rows and columns. But the Azure table is slightly different from RDBMS. It follows the NoSQL pattern, or it is built based on NoSQL, where we don't have RDBMS concepts. So it has a flat structure. Though you can have a columns, you will not have a relationship between different tables here. Okay, but this is enormously scalable. So one of the limitations of RDBMS is though it can scale up, it is limited for scaling out. If you want to have multiple nodes, then we have to implement certain custom sharding pattern. So in Azure Table, everything is managed. It's a managed service. You don't need to worry about the scaling and partitioning of table. Azure Platform will take care of that. And one of the final storage service type is queue. So queue is nothing but a first in, first out data structure. So such a intermediary storage is provided by Azure Storage Service. The last one is cloud design pattern, command query responsibility segregation. What do you mean by command? Command is something that will write the data. And what do you mean by query? Query is some statement which will read the data. So basically we are talking about reading and writing in simple terms. And the idea of this pattern is to separate reading and writing. And most of the use cases or operations you have seen, the writing part will take more processing, more compute or I/O power, whereas the reading is just a fetch. So the idea is to separate this read and write part. So with all these theory aspects in hand, let's take a look at the design and architecture of how a sample album can be made. So as we mentioned in the earlier slide, we have two services, Azure Cloud Service, which has a web role, which will host a web API. In this case, we can choose ASP.NET Web API since we are talking about Microsoft ecosystem. And a worker role is leveraged to have a processor. So if you remember in any of the album-based sites, say whether it is Flickr, whether it is Facebook album, whether it is Picasa, you upload a lot of photos, and once you see the album view, it has a lot of smaller thumbnails. It does not show you the entire full-sized photo. So behind the scenes, what such systems do is to create a smaller thumbnail to show it in a single page so that you can choose the thumbnail, then click on it, then it will bring the entire picture. So this is a conscious decision to minimize the bandwidth. The thumbnail will have very smaller footprint. Let's say your original image is having 5 MB or let's say 10 MB and 10 MB size. And if you create a thumbnail, it will be just a matter of KBs, let's say 500 KB. So instead of downloading the entire 5 MB, you can just download 500 KB and you will have multiple images. Remember that in an album you can have a lot of images, and if you tend to download the entire images, let's say 5 MB of 100 images, 500 MB in a shot. So bandwidth is definitely of far more greater importance when you talk about cloud. In cloud, when you try to fetch data from data center, it could be chargeable. So this would be a wonderful decision toward the design of minimizing bandwidth out of the data center. And look at the Azure storage. We have blow up, queue, and table. And let's have a look at the workflow. How does a typical uh, album works? So we have around 8 steps listed here. This is the bare minimum stuff. We can have a lot of advanced settings and configuration for different albums. So first step is user will upload the image, and the web role stores the image files to blob. It will directly write the image file to the blob service, and the web role will save the image details to the table, which is the NoSQL implementation for structured data. So you'll see this table will have columns, and it doesn't have a fixed schema. How to insert data into table, these kind of details we can see in upcoming series. And finally, the web role will send the image details to queue. So why do we need to send the image details to queue? There comes the role of worker. The thumbnail creator will fetch the details. The worker role will read the image details from the queue, and it will create a thumbnail image for each image, each photo you upload. It will create the thumbnail, and it will save it back to the blob. Yeah, ultimately you have to save the thumbnail somewhere so that you can fetch it. And again, you need to update the table with the thumbnail URI. Once you save the thumbnail to the blob, you will have to save the thumbnail URI as well, so that the album web page can fetch all the thumbnail from the blob. You don't need to download the entire image, as I said earlier. So this is the flow of a typical album use case or an album sample that can be built using a few Azure services such as Azure Cloud Service and Azure Storage. So how about the source code? If you want to have a look at the source code, you can visit this particular link. I have updated the source code for this link in github.com.